Hello, hello. I'm Christy Forsyth. This is your weekly reading where we talk all about what is happening in the cosmos, what is going on in the collective energy, the energy that each and every one of us is feeling. I'm going to help you to understand the things that you are feeling. And we're going to be talking about what is going on. Number one, so you can make sense of it, but number two, so that you can use it to your benefit this week, so that you can help yourself to understand it, but also so that you can move according to the stuff that we talk about, so that you can set yourself up for best case scenario here in this energy. So you guys might notice I am here much earlier than I intended. Yeah, over an hour earlier than I intended, but I had some things get shaken up in my schedule just a little bit today. So we're here now and we're going to record now, and I hope that this works. So if you planned on catching me live and you're not catching me live, make sure you still say hi watching the replay. I like to be consistent with this, but I apologize that I had to move that today. So let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling. Doesn't it feel like in this energy that there's like a buildup of everything that we've had going on? And there's been these storylines that have been unfolding in our lives. And a lot of things that we have been processing, a lot of things that we are making sense of. I think that we've had a lot of clarity come to the surface recently, but I think that we're still kind of trying to process that clarity, because in a lot of ways, we recognize that there are things that we need to do with that clarity. I talked a lot about that last week, where I think I called the video something like, you've been thinking about it and now it's time to do something with it, or now that you understand it, now you need to do something with it. And so we're still in that energy quite a bit, because I think that this is all part of the storyline. There's a development that is happening. And some people have already been taking steps moving in this direction. I'm watching a lot of the people that I'm working with individually, my clients that I'm working with, make a lot of moves very quickly. Like, there's a lot that is going down right now. So if you've been feeling that call to take action, to end something, to close something out, to just move in some way, to move forward, you're definitely on the right track. And I want to encourage you, this is going to look different for everyone, because this is a collective reading. This is not a personal reading. And so you have to take this energy and figure out, where does this apply to your life? But I'm wearing I don't know how well you can see it because of the light, but my Magician tarot card necklace. And I did that for a reason, because that Magician card, I'm curious to see if it'll come out in the tarot cards. Although I feel like I always say I'm curious, like when I get a card in my mind, I expect it to come out, but it never does. And I think that's because I've already covered the message related to the card. So we don't necessarily need the card to come through. But I've been feeling that Magician energy all day yesterday, all day today, as I was preparing these messages. And felt really called to wear this necklace, because this for me is a message about, like, we're getting the clarity. We're starting to understand things. And we're starting to understand all of the ways that we have been preparing for something. Preparing ourselves to lean into a new journey, preparing ourselves to make a change, preparing ourselves to move forward in some way with something. And all along, this has been preparing us to embody the version of ourselves that we are becoming. And I feel like this week, that is what's happening, is like, if we choose it, we're shifting into the embodiment of that in some way. So the Magician is the embodiment. The Magician is standing there with his table, and he has all four of the suits of the tarot laid out on that table. And that's very intentional because it's a message saying, you've been prepared for this. You've been learning, you've been growing. Maybe some of you have been learning things in an official capacity, right? Maybe some of you are completing some kind of schooling or something like that, or completing some new level of something. But there's something here about that where like we now are starting to understand, and this is a message for you. I want you to embrace that if it feels right, is that you're ready. Like you're prepared. You've been prepared. And maybe some people, I think part of the reason that we're here with this message is that I think that some people are in that place where they're, sorry, I'm not doing the best at explaining this with words, but they're like feeling that prompt, that push to become something, to step into something, to lean into something, to show up as this version of themselves, while also kind of sort of feeling like, am I really ready for this? And so the message with that is like, that is only your ego that is holding you back. That is only fear that is holding you back. You have trained for this. God, the universe has been preparing for this. You have been preparing yourself for this. Now, you might not have everything laid out, and there may be a step-by-step approach that you might need to take towards something. This doesn't mean that we have to like rush into anything, but what this energy is inviting us to do is to step into the embodiment of the version of ourselves that we've been preparing to be. Because somewhere along the way, while we were preparing to become this version of ourselves, we already became it. And so the last step is just to step into that, is just to own that as who you are, is to lean into that version that you've been thinking about. I feel like this is a version of ourselves that we're excited about. And it might be that version of yourself that is confident enough and ready enough to take a leap of faith. It might be that version of yourself that is ready to lean into something, maybe lean into relationships or opening to other people with more softness and vulnerability. Maybe in the past, you've been this version of yourself that has been very guarded and blocked, and now you're ready to just show up in a different way. You're ready to show up as this more empowered version of yourself and to step out of this feeling of being victimized in so many different ways, to step into the role of the main character, the hero. We're wrapping up Leo season, and this is us becoming that main character. I talked about that a few weeks ago. Really leaning into that, and it might feel uncomfortable for you, but that doesn't mean that this isn't a role that you weren't meant to play. Because again, I think if you look back, you will recognize all of the ways that you've been prepared for this. I did, when I was connecting with this energy, feel like for some of you that this is going to be about teaching or mentoring in some way. And maybe you're thinking, oh, like, I don't know enough about that, or I'm not an expert in that. And really, you've been learning all about it for years, and you know so many different things. And so for some of you, this is a message that you're ready for that. You're ready to teach, you're ready to share what you know, you're ready to mentor in some way, or maybe there's some way that you're feeling called to be of service in some way. And so this is talking about like, you're ready to do that. You can do this, you can handle this. So it's about having enough confidence in ourselves to really step into a role to step into some shoes. That's what I'm hearing right now, is to step into some shoes that we don't fully feel prepared to fill, but we actually are. And what's beautiful about this is it allows us to do that with humility. We don't need to do that from a place of enlarged ego. Is that even a way to say it? I don't know. But like from a place of this big ego where we overcompensate. That's not what this is about. This is about doing it with humility. But I think that we are, and that we do, like the circumstances that we have experienced have humbled us. but also there's a readiness. So I guess the question is like, what are you feeling ready for? What do you feel like if you look back over the course of the last month, what have you been being prepared for? If you were to make your life a story, what has the story been foreshadowing? What signs have been showing up for you? And what have they been showing you that you're ready to do, that you're ready to be? What are the messages that you feel like you now understand? What has come to the surface? What clarity, what breakthroughs have you had that had helped you to understand something in a different way? We don't have to continue to operate from a place of ego, from a place of autopilot. Like what you would traditionally do in a situation as it comes up, right? I think we have a choice and we have an opportunity to move differently here in this energy, to make a different choice, to make a soul-led choice. And I think that it all comes down to just us owning and knowing our own personal power, that we have everything within us to be able to do this. And isn't it so empowering to know that it begins and it ends with you and that you have real power here? The magician is also about creating a life that you're excited about, to create the opportunities that you want to surround yourself with, to create the life experiences that you want to create, to become that version of yourself that you've been thinking about for so long, that you've been dreaming about for so long, to show up in circumstances, in relationships, in the way that you now know that you can. Because I think that we're different. I think that we're not the same as we were before. Hi, Rick. Hi, Carlos. So this week is the new moon in Virgo. We transition into Virgo season, and let it be a fresh start for you in some way. But this is not a fresh start where we begin anew, right? This is a fresh start that we pull from everything we've learned, everything that's been being developed within us, everything we've been prepared for, and stepping into it not as a novice, but as an expert in some way. So have the confidence in yourself to make decisions for your life from that place. And this new moon, I feel like, is that opportunity for that fresh start. But again, that fresh start of the expert, not the novice. We also step into Virgo season this week. And I always say Virgo season is get your shit together energy. So we leave behind a little bit more of that playful, fun, lighthearted end of summer vibe that we see with Leo season, where we're just like living it up, and we start to take everything that we've experienced, because I don't think it was just us playing. Like, I think we've learned a lot through the play. I think we've learned a lot through living our lives the past month. And so now this is the application. Now this is us saying, okay, if I gather everything together, what have I learned? What do I know? What do I need to apply? How do I need to apply this? And Virgo season is going to help you to create a plan around that, which is really good, because you're ready for whatever this looks like for you. And I love to hear from you guys. So please let me know what that is for you, and what you're feeling called to lean into, to step into, what you feel like you've been being prepped for. And you might not have all of the clarity in the world just yet. I kind of feel like we do have these breakthrough moments, but also some of us still feel like we're being prepared a little bit. Like we're not quite ready to step into that, but we might be doing that this week, or taking baby steps in that direction. You don't have to like take this huge leap. What if you just take these steps in that direction? What if you just try on for size that embodied version of yourself that you are wanting to become and have become along the way? So let's pull some tarot cards and build upon these messages. Say hello if you're watching. I always love to see you guys. As I was saying at the beginning, I'm early here today. Oh, here we have the Fool. New beginnings. So we have the Ace of Swords, the Fool. I will show you these cards. I've already pre-shuffled the deck and put them in order. And then I will go through and I will talk about what these cards mean for me today. The Nine of Swords. The Star card. The Eight of Swords. Definitely going to be spending some time in our heads this week, a little bit. But we're making important decisions with this Judgment card. And you know what? I'm going to pull, if I have this deck right here, I'm going to just pull the top card just because I'm being prompted to. So, oh, and we have the Love card. Beautiful. Karen Chan is saying, do you think curses are real? I feel like my ex-girlfriend cursed me. You know, I do think that energy is very real and the energy can impact us. But I also, with curses, am a big believer that you get what you feed, right? So if you focus on it, if you're convinced that there's a curse, I think that there will be a curse and that that energy can impact you. But I also think that if we don't feed that and we don't give it much attention, that it can help to minimize the energy. But also, I would be really intentional with setting it, like with saying that you're sending that energy out and that you are sending it into the earth. I never send curses back. I send them into the earth to be neutralized, because the energy that we put out is the energy that we get back. And even if I'm returning it to sender, I don't want to receive that energy back in return. I don't want to ever be that person responsible for sending shitty energy someone's way. So I would just take it. I would say, I rebuke this energy. Imagine like pulling it off your body and sending it into the earth. Okay, let's get to the cards and see what they have to say. All right, so the first card that we have is the Ace of Swords. So this Ace of Swords has been here again and again and again. We are having these moments of clarity. We are having these breakthrough moments. We're having these moments that just feel so led by God, by the universe, where we're just like, oh, I see it now. I get it now. I know what I need to do. Now, that doesn't mean that your ego isn't going to feel afraid, and it may hold you back a little bit, but this is saying, no, like you know everything that you need to know. You see everything that you need to see. And all you have to do is to take steps forward. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, Susan. So sorry, I'm just reading comments. The blue diamond is cursed. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. Okay, so the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords, and trusting, leaning into the insights that are coming through and knowing that you know everything that you need to know. I think that there might be moments this week where it's just like, oh, I get it now. This is what I need to do. Or building upon other breakthrough moments or other moments of clarity that have come through over recent weeks. So that's so important. And I think that what we're understanding is, how do we embody this version of ourselves that we've been preparing to be? How do we speak like that person? How do we walk like that person? How do we live our life like that person? And I think that this is a really great way to do that, is just to start to do it. You don't have to feel, you're never going to feel fully ready. I'll tell you that secret. You're never going to feel fully ready. So you're never going to feel confident enough to step into this role. You're never going to feel like you know everything that you need to know, but part of you knows that you're ready for this. And so when you start to, I'm a big fan of like fake it until you make it in some ways, not for the purpose of being deceptive to other people, right? Like you don't want to do things that you don't have proper training for, or that you're not truly ready for. But you'll know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about things that you are ready for. And when you are ready for them, then you have to start to move as though you are that version of yourself that is ready for that. So if you are wanting to be, in my membership, we're doing a money challenge, magnetizing your money challenge, right? And so we're talking about, how do you embody that version of yourself that already has all of the money? What does that version of yourself look like? How does that version of yourself move? How does that version of yourself speak? What kind of decisions does that version of yourself make? And that's an example of what I'm talking about here, is how do I embody this version of myself that I'm feeling called to be? So if there are things in your work that you're feeling like you want to elevate with that, or you want to grow with that, how can you right now start to be that? If you're wanting to be ready in some way, shape, or form in regard to relationships or something like that, how can you start to send a different signal out to the universe that indicates that you are ready, that you are open, that your guard is more down, or whatever this looks like for you? But taking steps, moving down that pathway. And the difference is, while we have the Fool here, this isn't giving to me that novice energy, that somebody who's brand new. I think the steps that we're taking are brand new, but also we're carrying with us all of this wisdom that we have developed within us, all of these skills that we have developed, all of these lessons that we have been learning lately. And we just have to apply them. And this Nine of Swords is us thinking about them, thinking about what we want to do, thinking about where we want to go. You might be having some sleepless nights. You might be worrying. I'm seeing Barbara is saying, I'm at the point where I have to decide whether to stay or leave my job. It's hard to jump. Yeah, it is very hard, right? This is a time of some new beginnings. So you might consider, do I feel pulled to lean into a new beginning, Barbara? I think you're going to be in your head about that a little bit, right? But like, do you also feel like you've been prepared to leave and to start some kind of a different job? So you're probably going to be in your head about that. This isn't the most comfortable energy, but I also think like this is about putting the pieces together, is the energy that I'm getting with this. Like, let me just put the pieces together. What has been going on? What has been showing up in my experience lately that I can now bring together and apply to my life? Just try not to overthink it too much. Reflect without overthinking, if possible. Because the point is to take it to the next level of healing. And we have the Star card. I have to cover the nakedness for you too. So the Star card, us finding our way on the other side of some really challenging energy. It's almost like some things are just like, we're having these light bulb moments where it's like, oh, that's why that happened the way that it did. Oh, that's what that was about. That's why I went through that. Or like, again, like we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And all of that is meant to take us to the next level of our healing, but also to put us into some form of recognition or spotlight, something like that. So this is about being open and being willing to shine, being willing to let yourself be seen, being willing to show up in another way, to show up on another level, right? So for some of you, you might even be feeling like you're you're thinking about some kind of a role that's going to get you more recognition, or maybe you're thinking about going back out there and dating. Maybe you haven't dated in a long time and you're thinking about going out there, and there's like a level of vulnerability with being seen, but this is about letting ourselves be seen. Maybe for you, Barbara, it's like you're part of this is about letting yourself be seen by other opportunities, putting yourself out there in some way. It's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard to want something and to open yourself to some hope as well, right? It's hard to let people see you and truly see you showing up in your most authentic energy. But I think more and more we need to be leaning into that and becoming that authentic version of ourselves. It's time to set ourselves free. We have the 8 of Wands in reverse. It's time to stop letting our thoughts, our fear, our ego hold us back, keep us small, make us think that we aren't prepared for this, make us think that we can't do this, that we don't deserve the attention, that we don't deserve the thing, that we're not ready. Because all of this has been preparing us for this. I mean, otherwise, why have we been in our heads so much? Why have we been reflecting on so much and learning so many lessons? And this feels like it's all been building up to this, to us making some pretty significant decisions for ourselves in our life because we have the Judgment card. More nakedness, right? And that is meant to represent vulnerability. It's a willingness to say with the Judgment card, like, am I willing to step into this version of myself that's been being prepared, that I have been preparing for? Oh, Nicholas, okay, you're talking about the Hope Diamond. Yeah, I love the Hope Diamond. It's so pretty. I've seen it in the Smithsonian. Definitely objects can carry energy, that's for sure. So, okay, so to come back to this, because I'm easily distracted. The Judgment card. Making some big decisions for ourselves. I think this is saying, like, are you going to choose it this time? Are you going to choose to step into something that you've been being prepared for? There's a window of opportunity that's happening. Are you going to choose to embody this version of yourself that you somewhere along the way have already become, and now you just have to lean into it? Maybe there isn't more shadow work to be done right now. Maybe there isn't this need to tweak some things, learn some things, take another class, whatever. Maybe it's just time to go for it. Whatever that is for you. And again, I would love to know what that is for you guys, but we're making these decisions, and I think it's changing the course of where our life is going. We're deciding what we want to be doing, who we want to be doing it with, and how we want to be doing it. And it's time to tune in with ourselves and to just let ourselves be shown, because we know you've been shown. If you could just take the sampling of all the experiences, all of the signs, all of the messages, all of the insights, all of the clarity that's been coming to the surface and apply it to your life, you will see how ready you are. And the last card that we have here is the Wild Rose Fairy card, and it is the Love card. And while certainly this can represent maybe some of you, this is about being truly ready to receive love or to give love, or both, maybe just to be so open. Yeah, I'm seeing like in comments, yeah, it's so scary. I agree, right? But part of why this Love card is showing up is like leaning into the love, leaning into divine love, God's love that is always there to support you. It is very scary, but why do you question your capacity to handle it when you have been through shit that has been way heavier? You've got this. And that's a huge part of the message is you've got this. You've learned everything. You've been prepared for this. You have everything in you to be able to do this. So yes, it's scary. I'm right there with you guys. I've got some stuff and it's like, ooh, but yeah, that's scary. That's a lot, but it's also kind of exciting. And then there are other things that are just kind of feel scary, but I'm curious to see if I lean into that, what that looks like for me. So can we approach it with excitement? Can we approach it from that place of divine love, knowing that if I lean in and I trust God to lead my journey, I trust my intuition, I trust the universe to lead me, how could I be led wrong? So those are your messages. I hope that they resonate for you. I would love to hear what that looks like for you guys. Feel free to send me a private message if you would like as well. Just letting me know what you're working on, what you have going on. This feels important. This feels good. And I also want to remind you that we have eclipse season coming up in September. So now's the time to take care of some stuff, some unfinished business, to close things out, to begin new things, to get things shifting before we step into that, so that the eclipse season doesn't come in and just like knock your legs out from underneath you. So this is an opportunity to do that before we step into that, so that we can feel like we're already on our most aligned path. I hope that that's helpful for you. All right, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all for being here. Say hello if you're watching on the replay, and please like this video, share this video with the people who need these messages, comment, whatever you feel called to do. It all helps for these videos to reach the people that they need to reach. So thank you all so much. You are so amazing, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care.